Hello, today I will analyze a story with the title is A Little Mermaid. So, here we go. First, language. The original language of the story is Danish, and the story was first published in 1837 in a collection of fairy tales. And the story has been translated into many languages and adapted into various forms of media such as films, musicals, and comics. The most popular adaptation is the 1987 Disney animated film, which changed many aspects of the original story to make it more suitable for children and more optimistic in tone. Second, plot. The plot of the story follows a young mermaid who falls in love with a prince and makes a deal with a sea witch to become human and win his heart. However, the deals come with a price and she has to give up with her voice and endure constant pain in her legs. If the prince marries someone else, she will die and turn into sea foam. The prince doesn't recognize her as his rescuer and marries another princess. But the mermaid sister offers her a way to return to the sea if she kills the prince. Yet she cannot bring herself to do it and sacrifice herself, but instead of becoming a sea foam, she is transformed into a spirit of the air who can earn a soul by doing good deeds. Mood. The mood of the story is tragic, melancholic, and romantic. The story is explore the themes of love, sacrifice, and longing, as well as the contrast between the worlds of the sea and the land. The story also has some element of horror, such as the description of the sea fear and the fate of the mermaid's voice. The story ends with a hopeful note, as the mermaid is given a chance to attain a soul and eternal life. Setting. The story is set in a specified time and place, but it is implied to be somewhere in Europe, as the Prince Kingdom is described as having a church, a palace, and a garden. And the story also takes place in the underwater world of the mermaid, which is it is a beautiful and colorful world. The story also shows glimpses of the other land and cultures that the prince and the mermaid visit, such as a tropical island, a desert, and a city with a temple. Theme. The main theme of the story is the desire for something more than one's own world and the consequence of pursuing it. The mermaid longs for the human world and a soul, but she has to pay a high price for her transformation and ultimately loses for her life. The story also explores the theme of love and its different forms, such as the romantic love between the mermaid and the prince, the familial love between the mermaid and her sister, and the spiritual love between the mermaid and the spirits of the air. And the story also touched the theme of identity and how it is shaped by one's voice, appearance, and action. Point of view. The story is told in the third-person omniscient point of view, which means that the narrator knows everything about the character and the event. Narrator. The narrator mostly focuses on the perspective of the mermaid, but they also switch to the prince and other characters at the times. The narrator also comments on the moral and philosophical aspect of the story, such as the nature of the soul, the value of life, and the role of it. Conflict. The main conflict of the story is the mermaid's desire to become a human and gain a soul, which conflict with her father's rules, her sister's advice, and the sea witch bargain. The mermaid also faces external conflict with the prince's love interest. The story also explores the internal conflict of the mermaid, such as her pain and her sacrifice. Character. The main character of the story are the mermaid, the prince, the sea witch, and the mermaid sister. The mermaid is the protagonist who is curious, adventurous, and brave, but she is also naive, impulsive, and selfless. And the prince is the love interest, who is handsome, kind, and adventurous, but he's also oblivious and unfaithful. The sea witch is the antagonist, who is manipulative and cruel, but she's also averse a fair deal and warns the mermaid of the consequence. The mermaid sisters are the supporting characters, who are loyal and supportive, but they also conservative, cautious, and helpless. Moral value. The story teaches us about the themes of desire, sacrifice, and consequence. The moral of the story is that there are consequences for desire and that we must accept this consequence if we choose to pursue our desires. We must be aware of the consequence of our action and accept them fully. The story also shows us the value of love, loyalty, and compassion as the mermaid and her sister demonstrate. Great! The story is a classic fairy tale that has inspired many adaptation and interpretation. It is a tragic story that appeals to both children and adults. The story has a rich and imaginative setting, complex plot, and a memorable and emotional ending. The story also has a poetic, symbolic language, a moral and philosophical message, and a universal of timeless theme. I would rate the story 4 out of 5 stars. Message to the next reader. If you are going to read this story, I would suggest that you prepare yourself for a sad and beautiful journey. You will experience the joys and sorrow of the mermaid, the wonders and the dangers of the sea, and the mysteries and the reality of the human world. You will also learn some valuable lessons about life, love, and faith. You will also not regret reading the story, but you might shed some tears. So, that's all from me. Enjoy your reading.